Just be you and welcome to the KuyaChris and Friends podcast. We just jump right in. And the way I like to jump into it usually is a performance, but I want to do a quick rundown of you, Sean.
Yes.
What is your name?
My name is Sean Verre, Sean Pierre Verre. That's my middle name.
And where did you grow up?
San Francisco, born and raised San Francisco, California. A little bit in the East Bay for maybe about 5-6 years, but
What is your creative side?
I like creating. I'd like to call it like new media. You know, like it's not photography anymore. It's not going to be music and like anything you categorize now. For me it's new media because if you look at podcasting as a whole, it used to be radio. Like it's just new internet based. For me, it's just new media because. For me, it was photography, and when I was doing photography, the technology went from film all the way to digital, and it's just so easy now to become a photographer with your phone, with you pay $1,000, camera can do everything. It'll do everything.
2,300.
Yeah,
$300.
Your phone is a leased device from a carrier, and you're creating. You're creating art, essentially. You're creating movies, you're creating art via phones. People are creating music from their phones.
So you're very interested in like this new media concept like that?
I do because evolution, it's real. I mean, everything is evolving around the digital age at this point. I mean, virtual reality, it's
but then we're all on our phones now. We're all, you know what? When you go out, I went to Chibog, shout out to Chibog, but a few months ago, like I see a pair sitting on the table. They're both on their phones, like on a date looking, but they're just there.
Isn't it crazy how there's no more communication between people because I found myself like texting my wife like from across the room just because I just felt like
Did you really do that?
No, I mean not on the regular. Just
just
I
once,
was like I was watching my kid, and she was in the bathroom like pumping her tits or something, and then it was just I just said, hey, like what's up? Like what do you wear? It's just and it's and then she'll respond back. It'll be fun, but then like in reality, I should have just been like, hey, what do you? But yeah, that's. I mean. You said it. I mean, Chibog is. I actually know the owners of that place, and I see it. Like we always make fun of the people. Like me and my wife, sometimes when we're out,
make fun of who?
The people that are just kind of like they're not communicating. It's like we're just like, hey, check, check the couple, table 6, and it's weird, man.
And sometimes I understand it. Sometimes I feel it though myself, like it's a crutch almost. Yeah. If I start feeling awkward or anything, I'll pull it out and start like just surfing. And then now it's like a practice of trying to stop myself from doing that and just sit. All right, I guess I'll just sit in this awkwardness and just see what's going on around me.
It feels weird though, right? Because you're not used to it anymore. Before, when we didn't have phones. We weren't doing all that shit.
Yeah. I got an app called Moment. And then it tracks how much time you spend on your phone, how much time you pick it up. It has pickups, right? Every time you pick it up and open, unlock. And a day I was averaging around like 98, 100 pickups. Really? Yeah. And then when I first started using it, it was like 6 hours a day on my phone.
Fuck.
And then I remember the max was like 2 or 3 hours on Instagram, dog.
Damn.
Just because it would show which apps you use the most too. Dude, I didn't realize that I say, I don't watch TV because I don't, right? Yeah. But that's become like the mini TV.
Your phone's your TV.
Yeah, but at least it's cut down. I've been able to cut down what you measure. You can change.
But at least you're conscious about it, man.
Yeah.
And you're doing. I'm gonna download that shit because I want to see. I bet you like it's gonna surprise me, and I'm sure it surprises you how long you're on that thing. Does it know your history too? It's like, there's like porn on there. There's like,
it doesn't say that unless you have a porn app.
Oh, that's true.
There isn't. Unless it's like YouTube or whatever, or Chrome, the Chrome browser.
That's true. Yeah, right? It's like, he's been on the Chrome browser for 20 hours.
Wikipedia, research,
But Instagram's the one, though.
Instagram's the one. It's been getting me.
There's so many hoes and there's so many great bodies, Yeah.
It makes you realize that there are so many fit people in the world. I guess if you have 6 billion people, right,
watching you,
in
like
the world, right? There's bound to be beautiful people, and they're the ones who get like on the forefront of what you're swiping and everything.
So here's the thing. I have a couple friends that are heavily into Instagram because that's kind of like their marketing tool. So there's people like, I'm not going to mention their names, but you know, the things ends in like anything you see that says like something like a noun pics, like PIX or something. It's like car pics, like that guy is actually cool. Like I follow that guy. Vape pics. I think there's like weed pics or something. Anyone that can snatch a trending type
name,
of
and
pics,
then get the name,
and then just feature people that are on like other pages that have like say it's weed pics.
Yeah.
There's like beautiful pictures, like the most beautiful pictures of weed and shit. But in reality, someone is paying that fucker to post that shit.
Yeah.
I saw a rate sheet one time. I'm not talking about you, weed pics, but one of these pics, guys, his rate, I think it was like $1,800 for the week.
So he'll post you consistently for the week, like maybe 1 or 2 posts a day.
Yeah, and then the more posts that you want on there, the more it costs. So it's like, I saw 3,000 as one of the gold packages for a fucking week. One person too.
Well, it makes sense now that Instagram swept up that analytics. Being able to analyze that, because people used to use third party, right? Crowdfire, all these other things. And then they shut that down. They just added analytics onto your own page if you convert it to business, right?
Yes.
And then it shows all the impressions, the demographics, and all that.
Fucking insane.
And so you can sell. You can just sell. It's
crazy.
I gotta say though, props to the people who capitalized on that and thought of that framework, like shout outs, right? Doing $1 for shout outs, and then just consistently doing that, building enough of a platform where it's entertaining on the side, right? And then building your audience, and then boom, now you have a marketing tool.
Imagine the amount of traffic. Like for example, if you're a car guy, you know, I was a huge Miata guy. There's a site called Top Miata. They feature a lot of these Miatas, and oh my gosh, like the exposure that you get just from one post, you know, like just by one post, like they show your car on there, you're being seen by like hundreds of thousands, even millions of people.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. So I get it. You know, a shout out is worth a lot of money because it builds a brand.
Especially if you have a product connected to the shout out.
Yes.
Right. So damn, they must be making bank, like these big name ones, like even the comedy ones, right?
You'll
like
be
Leanne
surprised.
V, King those people with millions of followers already.
Yes.
And then they just do like a shout out for Fit Tea,
dude,
like that.
And sometimes they're not even handling their shit. They got someone doing it for them or something like that. It's gotten to that point. It's gotten to that point.
That's on some level, I just gotta give props. It's kind of dope.
It is dope.
It is like that new media that you won't see any of these folks on TV anytime soon. Maybe 1 or 2 guest type things, right? But it's not a consistent thing for them to have a spot on TV. But a lot of them are even bigger in terms of numbers than the local newscasters who have their own Twitter account, right? They're just blown up.
You'll just all of a sudden see some, like the other week I met a guy named Nick La. He's a great photographer. He's from Oakland. He's a local guy.
Nick La,
NIKK_LA, I believe. And he, he's a photographer. I met him on a Reebok shoot. I got to shoot with an idol of mine by the name of James Law. He's the guy that caught that photo of Anderson Silva kicking Vitor right in the mouth. Have you seen that photo?
If I remember right.
It's everywhere. It's in the video game. It's all over the place. So I remember when I saw that picture, I had to know who shot that. So I found out who it was, and I actually got to shoot with him. Oh, actually, I just helped him out when he was here. It was a couple months ago. And he had another assistant. I was just assisting as well. And his name was Nick Law. He's a photographer and he's a brand ambassador. That's another thing that you can get from Instagram, where if your work is that fucking good, you can approach these camera companies and be sponsored by these people. They send him all over the freaking world, and his pictures are amazing. And, you know, he has a huge following, and he shoots with a Leica. You know, that's one of the biggest names in photography. And he's only like 25, 26 years old.
Shit.
And you would just never know. Like, that's the guy. It's this little dude. You're not little or anything, but it's just this Asian
What's his name?
guy.
Nick La.
Yeah.
Nick La. All right. Shout out. We'll
Great
put
shit.
Up his
The guy is
Instagram.
amazing, man.
Okay.
I didn't know who he was until a friend of mine, he saw my Instagram because I guess James had put, the squad. He was like a squad. It was me and Nick side by side. And my friend was like, hey, that was Nick Law, right? And I was like, yeah, I just met him like the other day. He's a really cool guy. He has a hookup on some stuff that I like. And we just had we just really clicked.
Yeah.
So, and then I looked into his Instagram and I was just like, holy shit, this guy's work is amazing. And, photography has branched out to drones too.
Yeah, that's
if you
crazy.
ever see some of these photographers' pages where they have like a top view of San Francisco, how the fuck did you get that shot? Right? So they're using drones, man.
Yeah.
And those drones are starting to get really, really, really good.
And some people are really using those for top quality videos.
Yes.
And just video shoots that would have been so expensive to do before.
Yeah.
But now just a G or two, like your top professional quality video at least. That's pretty crazy. Okay, I know that you're creative. I just want to kind of give quick features of who I know about you first. Like, you do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, man, that's how we know each other.
You the purple belt leg locker of FTCC. Shout out to Faito. Tamashe Combat Club.
Faito.
Darren Uyenoyama. But you also, I know you as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
You had a venture. When did it start? Tell me about Mighty Breed.
So it started out in 2014. I was in 2013. I was still freelancing, and to tell you the truth, like freelance photography in the city, it just about like 3 years back, it just totally changed. It evolved again. It just really kind of took a 180. So for me, I was going broke.
Wait, but for the before that shift as a freelance photographer, was that your full-time gig?
It was all I did.
And that's what you were putting food on the table with?
Yes. So if you can imagine, when things involve where you have to make money with your creative talent, like it's really, really hard because you start doubting yourself, like you think like you're supposed to not talk to other people, like you're supposed to be your own like guy and just like fight hard, make money, right? But in reality, like if I would have like did it all over again, I would have done a lot more networking for sure. Just because this business venture has really shaped my life at this point. So marijuana is one thing that I've always done ever since I was younger, and I thought, that's all I want to be in. Like when I was a kid, I loved cars, and then I became a mechanic, but then I hated it because I felt old, because
you worked as a mechanic?
Yeah, my first real job that I've held for many years was I was a master tech at Mercedes in San Francisco.
Oh,
so
what? I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. Like I went to automotive school because when I met my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time. We met at ceremony.
Yeah. That's that Daly City love, bro.
That's why I love this idea of you having this, because you're so pro Philippines and Filipino everything. I met my wife in fucking ceremony, right? She worked at Forever 21. I was selling phones. All right.
Well, with who? Sprint?
Nah, man, I was with AT&T. Pac Bell when it was Pac Bell. I did it for most of my adolescent going out days and raving and shit. So yeah.
So you saw her at Forever 21 and you struck up a convo?
I was like, I tried to, I even did this, free phone, like, and yeah, like I just saw her every day. She was amazing. So we ended up getting married. I already got sidetracked. What the fuck are we talking about?
No, that's a great story for Daly City. That's Daly City heart love, man.
So when we got together, I was like, shit, I gotta do something. I can't be selling phones, So I looked into this school that I loved, that I freaking saw on commercials, and I decided to go for it. And I went through about a 1.5 year program of automotive, and then I was a smog tech for a while because that was the thing to do back then. It was good money, and then I was like, man, I want to be at the top of the top. Like I don't want to just work for Honda. I don't want to work for. So I tried to go for Ferrari. I was trying to go for all the exotic brands, but back then, like there was no tech out here, you know, like in the city. So you wouldn't see a Ferrari all the time running around like you do now. I see fucking Ferraris in Daly City, for God's sakes. So
Filipinos on the come up.
I'm telling you, man. Like
buy into the American dream,
Filipinos,
baby.
man. I know some Filipinos that are doing it, and I'm just like, God, what the fuck are you doing? It's got to be
He's
a front.
American, man.
I know. Yeah,
He's trying to get the white girls, bro.
I know, dude. Keeping it right. So yeah, like I got into Mercedes like just by applying. I was there for about 6 years, I believe.
Oh shoot!
Yeah. They sent me to school and everything. I achieved the highest point. There was a master diagnostic tech. Right, I received the top of the top. Not being like a foreman or a service manager, but you know, it taught me a lot about myself. Like at the time I was eating a lot because, you know, mechanics are, I'm not saying you guys are sloppy. I know you guys are fucking lazy though, because I started turning lazy, but I was almost like 205. Like
really?
almost,
how much do you weigh now? 160.
I'm walking around like 70s now,
70.
but
shit.
I was just eating all the Chinese food across the street, you know.
This was in the city in San Fran?
Like
the Mercedes.
Yeah, like, so I was able to put my hands on and touch like German engineering, which is garbage, but it's, you know, if I had to pick out of all the German manufacturers, Mercedes would probably be shit right there. I used to have one, you know, because they were giving out deals to master techs. They're like, hey man, well, you're swell. I'm gonna give you a Mercedes for $200 something a month. So I was like, fuck that, I'll drive a Mercedes for 200. I think it came all the way out to like 300, like after taxes and all that stuff, you know. So yeah, man, I was a tech, and I wanted to with everybody. Like now that I realize, like now that I know life, it's like all I want to do now is like project myself, like be creative and be myself, like like just kind of like express myself with creativity, like
but
in
still
any
also
way.
put food on the table.
Exactly.
You know, that's that hard balance.
Yeah,
that's
it is, man.
A lot of people are trying to find.
Yeah, so that's why I thought cannabis was the one. You know, like I could use my photography, but I can, you know, apply some of the business stuff that I know, which was nothing. And
so for cannabis, you started Mighty Breed.
Yes. So after photography, I was going broke. You know, I knew someone that was hiring. I ended up applying, and they were just like, "Look, you're going to deliver weed," and I'm just like, "Hey, man, I'm down. Like, I just need to."
So we're here in the city. So this was 2014, and then they had the delivery service.
Yeah,
I noticed that there was more delivery services here versus SoCal, where SoCal had more storefronts than here was. The medical cannabis was more on delivery.
Well, with SoCal, they actually created the delivery model, but now that they passed all these new, I don't know what the prop number is over there because it's different over there, but apparently in the main city of LA, there are no, you can't be a stationed delivery service, so you can't like incorporate anywhere. So they tell them to stay on the outskirts, Mission Viejo. I think there's some in Arroyo Grande.
For the delivery services? Yeah,
because there was a big thing about cannabis over there. Like people were getting robbed, or like, I guess from what I think, the state wasn't getting their cut of tax, or the city or county wasn't getting their cut of tax. So they're just like, fuck you guys, like let's just drive them out. They started doing all these zoning and ordinance things, especially in San Jose. I feel really bad for those people.
Really?
Yeah, like before there wasn't a huge like rule for zoning and ordinance. So like, for example, when I tried to start a delivery service, I wanted to start it in Daly City, you know, because Daly City, man, like there's nothing over here, like as far as cannabis.
There's enough Filipinos who like a little bit of that thing.
So I was asking my lawyer, I was like, hey, let's go Daly City, and because one of my other colleagues, he was in way back, like maybe another 2 years back from when I started. So you're talking about like 2012 or something like that, where there wasn't many delivery services at all.
It's like that transition.
Yeah, he caught the transition pretty much, and he was able to. But then when I was applying for it, it just didn't work. Like they were just like, no, nothing in San Mateo County. So that, you know, that stretches all the way down. So that's, except for Pacifica. I asked Pacifica, no. Like they weren't in on it. So San Francisco, of course, you know, being not the forefront, because I believe Oakland is the forefront of cannabis, because they, you know, they're the ones that are really pro cannabis.
Yeah.
I mean, San Francisco is just only because it's a huge commodity, or it's a cash crop at this point. They're just like, yeah, let's.
Like, sure.
We're
liberal enough.
Yeah, we're liberal. We have, you know, Castro. We have every walk of life you want is in San Francisco, and that's what I love about it. It's the culture. That's what's great about Daly City too, is that, I mean, I went to Serramonte the other week. I was I was there to buy my kid, because we're going to Hawaii, and I was like,
there all the time, bro.
So it's like I was there, and I really haven't been there in a while.
Yeah.
They're coming up, man. All they need now is a Louis Vuitton, and we're talking Valley Fair, man.
It's gonna be too expensive. It's gonna be too packed, though.
I know. So
the parking's already kind of bad,
dude.
man.
It's pretty shitty to park there.
Yeah, they're building a parking structure though,
that's
gonna
that's just gonna put.
But
that's where all the fucking hoodlums are gonna be in. They're gonna do car shows. I know. That's what's gonna be cool about it, though.
Yeah. It's gonna make that kind of fun, right? But the cool. Skaters will have a place, though. What if they? You know,
you're right, man. They should just put a skate park here, right?
Yeah, they need. They're thinking of doing a hotel, I think, from what I hear, because what they want to do is get like that business, those out-of-towners who are here in SF for business, to just be like, hey, Daly City's right here. Yeah. There's a BART nearby.
Good alternative.
You're right by SFO. Just come here.
Food's great.
Yeah, and Filipinos won't complain about you.
Dude, can you imagine what the landscape of Daly City will look like in the next 5 to 10 years, just with a lot of real estate and a lot of development that's going on just up and down this freeway? Dude,
but I'm scared. I'm scared that the development will push out the culture of Daly City being Pinoy capital.
Yes.
Because majority of Filipinos here are working class. Immigrant families are traditionally working class families.
Yes.
Daly City is 52% immigrants. So if you are going to develop it and bring outside markets and outside demand into it, and then the suppliers at the end of the day want that cash flow, both rent and also commerce, is going to put pressure on the working class families.
I agree.
And
they're not going to be able to keep up.
They're not. And it's already happening. There's a lot of discussions. I just came from a meeting at the Filipino Bayanihan Resource Center this morning.
Is that the one downtown?
No, it's right here on Junipero Serra, near Century Theater. It's a small little community center.
That's all they got.
Yeah, that's all they got. And then San Mateo is doing this kind of small research of what's going on with affordable housing, or the lack of affordable housing. And it's a lot of people are being pushed out and having to go to Richmond. And there's no rent control here in Daly City. Like, none. And so any landlords can just, let's raise it. And there's nothing they can do. It's legal. And that's one of my fears. That's like one of the things I'm thinking about. Like, what is possible to kind of defend Daly City, the Pinoy capital? They wrote a book about Daly City called Pinoy Capital. And
where's this? Like, there's a
legit book.
But I hate how people, and they should promote this more, because I feel like that's something I'd read. You know, I don't really read, but now that, you know, I'm a little older, a little bit wiser, it's like I kind of dig that shit.
Yeah,
you know?
Dude, it's great to just know like the history. A lot of the reasons why we're here is because of Seton Medical Center.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
A lot of nurses and everything. There's mad history, but the thing is, we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Because it's also something in our culture where we don't even talk about the good stories, the struggles of our past. Yeah. Like knowing that my Lola, the struggles for immigration, right? And then you compare it to other cultures where they know, the family tree of our lineage. It goes back to the founding fathers.
It's green. It's like...
We need more stories of our past so we know why we're here, right? And then make it interesting for the youngins, because you can't also force the youngins to learn about the Pinoy capital, because it's not going to be interesting to them.
Yeah, because they're more into the Migos and
yeah.
Coachella.
It's understandable. It's understandable, but there needs to be somewhat of a generational bridge too to make that interesting enough and connect everything socially, culturally. Like maybe there's a Migos type Filipino dude who makes music or a group that connects it,
that makes beats or you know,
and then connects it with the real issues of like, yo, let's defend this spot. Let's defend the whole reason Seafood City is there is because of all the Filipinos here. What if all the Filipinos move away? What will you do, Seafood City? Right?
And that's, you know what's crazy is I delivered to a bunch of people in this area, and
don't blow up their spot. Don't blow.
But I predominantly they were white. Like I've never seen so many white people in Daly City.
Yo, that's what my friend just said.
That's crazy.
Who grew up here in Daly City.
I love white people, but
it's not that we're talking bad about them, right? It's just saying by observation, the quantity has increased. I have a friend who grew up here, just down the street, and he was like, "This is the most I've ever seen in Westboro." Just like the numbers, and it's not strictly a racial thing.
No.
It's just that economic lines are related to demographics.
Yes.
That certain demographics are predominantly working class, while certain demographics are predominantly upper middle class.
Yes.
And then those change because of the class structures and who can afford to move here. That changes the demographics.
Dude, it's crazy because Uncle Joe over there, working for the post office for like 30 years, used to have a house here. Remember during how long have you been here in Daly?
2013.
Yeah, so there was a point where there was a big subprime loan, like when the real estate thing fell. A lot of the Filipinos lost their houses here, so a lot of people came in and they just started buying like cash. You know what I mean? And that's when the whole rent thing came in, because if you buy a state property in San Francisco, you have to deal with people that have rent control and whatnot. And over here, it's just free pay, like what we were saying earlier. They can hike your rent up. Like, dude, I've heard $3,000 payouts out here. It's crazy.
And what's messed up is these people that you're hiking the rent on, they're part of the community and they have lives.
Yeah.
And my very first semester back at college, there was this lady who was like a returning college student. She was like 27 or 30, so somewhere around that age. In the middle of the semester, she got evicted because the landlord raised the rent by $1,000, and she had kids, and she was like she had finals presentation, and she was just in our group telling us, "Sorry, y'all, I couldn't come today because I was trying to look at a new place to move my family into," and I was just, but I'm here, like that. But dude, we were like, yo, handle that. It's cool.
That's a milestone, right?
And there's no control. It's crazy to think about just economics, and technically it's legal, right? There's nothing illegal about them doing it, right? But how are laws really just if it does not benefit the majority, right? Or it only benefits people in power.
Yeah, that's the word right there. It's all about power, man.
It is.
The power to raise rent, the power to control the housing out here. It's fucked up, man.
Hopefully it changes. At least the important part is there are organizations that are talking about it. It's just like this really slow process, and
it's not important. That's why people don't think it's important. That's why. If it was like a gentrification thing, they'd be on it all day. But it's kind of like a slow gentrification.
It's a slow one.
Like imagine Daly City, all of a sudden having high rises. That would be fucking scary.
It's starting. It's starting. Just look at Ceremony. Yeah. Just watch Ceremony. How the demo. Dude, Dave and Buster's is but y'all messing up the parking, yo. I have to go 5 rows down just to park. I'm trying to go to Daiso, bro. And y'all messing up the parking. It's crazy.
Daiso's
sick.
Dude, you get like, where else can you get like a 100-pack of chopsticks?
Yep. Cool slippers. I got this from Daiso, bro. Straight up. $2. I got a lot here in this house from Daiso. Half sponsored by Daiso, half by Target, baby.
Damn.
And pretty much the majority though by Amazon.com.
Can you believe you need 2 Targets in Daly City?
Yeah. They're not even that far from each other. They're just down this. They're literally, I would say, 4 blocks away.
Both of them are cracking. The park, the one at Metro Center, you can't even. Not Metro. The one next to Metro Center, you can't even park near the Target. You gotta go to, luckily, I have an electric car. They have that little.
Yeah. Your car is chill.
Thing. I'd be acting like I'm a baller and shit. Put in my thing, everyone's looking at
me. Do you have to pay? Some of those are free, right?
That one is free, but there's other ones where you have to be pre-registered. And they'll send you a little key fob, so then you just go beep, and then it starts. Because I was just standing there, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Where did I put my credit card, you know?
Where is this? Where's the, what?
Stonestown, they have I forget what they're called. But
the one right by Trader Joe's.
Yes.
Oh, and then you can just put it and then you scan your card?
Yes.
And then it just starts charging like that?
Yeah.
Do you have to pay for that?
Yeah, dude. But it's cheaper than gas. But they're rapid chargers, so they charge fairly quick.
Is yours 100%?
100%.
Electric? Oh.
Let me tell you, man, like we leased that about 2 years ago, and our lease is up in February, but there's a thing called, I'm probably going to butcher the word, I think I'll call it like electricity anxiety, or like power anxiety, because you know when I used to use that car mainly for delivering, right? And then say I'll get hit, like say down here, and then all of a sudden I have to go back into the sunset or something like that. You got to be conscious about how much electricity you have in that thing.
Yeah.
I brought that shit down to like 0 one time. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna be stranded here, you know?
Have you ever gotten stranded?
No,
okay.
I've never, and I think after this electric vehicle, because the mileage sucks on it, like I'm getting like, it's such a small car, it's a smart 4.2 electric, if you guys can imagine.
It's like those tiny ones, it's like the size of this table, bro.
and I saw the figure, like it's actually 6'2" long, 6 feet.
Oh shoot!
Long. So like if I were to lie down, I'm about 5'11", it's only a few inches longer than I am, so I can fit into a lot of these spaces, right? I think that's the only thing I'll miss about that car, though.
The parking wise.
Yeah, because it's such a good tool. Like every time me and my wife are like, we're gonna go downtown, let's take this Smart. And you know, like honestly, driving a Smart, you'll get a lot of dirty looks, though, man. Like, I got
why dirty looks?
So I was just driving. I live in San Francisco. And I'm in Excelsior.
Shout out at Excelsior, one of the last dope neighborhoods.
Babies.
SF.
The babies, dude.
Babies Eatery.
I hope they stay, because they're just such loving people, and they'll even barter with you, like, yeah, let me get like 2 tilapias or something like that. They'll cut the price for you, you know what I mean? Like,
dude, they have the best dinuguan in the whole state of California, in my opinion.
He's saying,
in my
right
opinion,
now.
And my Lola
Chibog,
loves it.
What's up?
Sorry, Chibog, but yo, because they use more tripe. Other folks are using like full on the meat, it's cheaper, that's why. But Babies uses more of the innards and everything. Oh, bro, they get it right, dude. And then sometimes they give me hella cheap too when they're closing too. They're like, all right, here, have this.
And as you grow like a relationship with them, if they see you more than one time per week, dude, they start like acknowledging it, right? They're like, oi, like they'll say like, I don't know what they called my wife, because my wife looks a little half, you know.
Yeah.
They called her something, I don't know. It wasn't like derogatory or like that, but shit like that.
Yeah.
I mean, what other Filipino like restaurants do you like?
Top one is in the area, Ongpin.
Yeah.
Ongpin is where it's at. They have one of the best kare-kare.
Yeah,
I would say.
sure.
Yes,
you guys are the ones.
Yes, one time though, there was this one, I don't know if they had like cook issues or something. There was 1 month where we got it. What the fuck is this? Even my mama was like, yo, what is this?
Too thick, man.
No, it was too watery.
Oh.
Yeah, we were like, and it's a different color. I was like, did y'all get the wrong peanut butter or something?
You probably just got the wrong cook.
Yeah, no, but every other time, after that month, every other time it's on point. Like not top notch. Like, and you call, they got it for you in 20 minutes. Like, they're streamlined, dude. And then they have Kamayan. I've taken a whole bunch of people there.
Have you ordered a pig from them yet?
No. Okay. Oh yes, we have.
Because one of our Christmases. That's when you've done everything. When you
yes. Ongpin is where it's at. They're like nice. They're kind of nice mean. Like they're just like, what's your order?
if like. I think if you're a Bustos kid, like they know. Like if you just walk in there and you just act like mean mugging and shit, they're like, fuck this guy. If you're going in there, you're nice, you're patient because sometimes it could be crazy when you're paying for the food. There's only a few fucking waiters there.
Yeah.
It's like you just gotta be patient. They'll give you the extra bugalong or something like that.
But you know what's interesting? When I think about it, I can see how a lot of Filipino restaurants can get lower Yelp scores if you're not legit Filipino cultured out and know like the practices, the mannerisms, the culture of Filipinos. Like, because there are different ones. Some are more like not really like as catering as Chibog. Let me say, right, Chibog is really great in terms of its ability to be marketable to not just Filipinos and not just traditional Filipinos, but younger Filipinos and any Filipino who has like white friends or any other culture friends. If you want to introduce them to Filipino food and give them a nice representation, Chibog is a great place to bring them, right, service-wise and presentation-wise, right? If you go to Babies, some people are like,
this food's nasty. The mungo is good. Bro. You're getting the wrong shit.
Yeah, that's the best.
If you're looking for fucking sisig or something like, go to fucking your sisig place. But if you're going out to Babies, you're going there for some hardcore home cooking, man.
The Mongol. Hey, but Chibog though, I would say has really good sisig.
Oh, really?
Their sisig is different. They make it crunchier.
And they're using the face.
The what?
Because real sisig is...
using the face. Yeah. Do they use it?
Yeah.
Do they?
Or they're doing a lechon.
Lechon style. It's like very crispy. It's dope. It's good. Like a pork one.
Yeah. That's the real shit.
Yeah, I think we have to cut this interview right now. We have to go. Oh, shoot.
How long were we fucking...
Wait, I think it cut by accident. At least I have the video. Right. Yes, audio will be mixed in. But like all these Filipino restaurants, I've been so grateful just living here. And then realizing how many there are. There's like so many that I'm just so happy because in LA, I used to have to drive like 40 minutes just to go to the nearest one.
A good one? Or
just one? Because I was in the heart of San Gabriel Valley, Rosemead, 626 area. A lot of Chinese restaurants. So it was still good, like a lot of pho, a lot of good Chinese spots where I went back recently. I was like, this is dope. Because when I sat down, we didn't even order. They just gave us a bowl of rice already. I was like,
it's like, you can start eating.
Already. And we just order, and it's pretty cheap too. Like $4 or $5 for a big plate of the ulam, like the shrimp and walnut, and it's good. But then I had to drive out like almost an hour sometimes because they're only in West Covina or Eagle Rock, and they're all spread out. That's the thing with LA. All these little Filipino hubs are super spread out. You'll have only one Filipino spot where it's kind of I wouldn't say janky, but it's like rudimentary because they can only afford this storefront, right? It's not like, because their market isn't as big.
Yeah.
And so coming here, I was just trying to count like how many there are. From this spot where we're at, within 10 minutes, you can have 15 to 20 different Filipino spots.
Toppings,
Lingnam, like they're all right next to each other.
They're all right next to each other. They know each other.
Yeah. And they both survive.
Yeah.
And they both get full. Like, it's so cool to see that. And when we're talking about 4 to 5 years from now, I'm just hoping we don't lose that.
Yeah.
Especially with raising rent or cost of living. I really feel, shout out to any person who's more economically minded, we really need some form of coalition and really backbone for a Filipino town in a sense. Because it's really beautiful for me to go down to LA in Rosemead where I lived, Valley Boulevard. If you just drive down for a good 15, 20, 30 minutes, it's all Asian businesses. That there are some that don't even have English signs, but they're all thriving.
Yeah.
Like nice newly built strip malls.
Oh, nice.
And new developments and everything, but it's all Asian owned businesses.
Yeah.
And it's this like circulating the money within the community, and because they're all going to each other's massage spots, there are restaurants, cafes,
nails and all this shit. Yeah, dude.
And hopefully I see that. I really want to see that and see that development, because we don't have a Filipino town nowhere. We have so many Chinatowns in the US, and it's dope to see their developments, like those ethnic enclaves, but we don't have something of Filipinos.
Yeah.
This Daly City is
Filipino town,
but there's no obvious sign. No one would know, right?
There should just be a fat fucking flag somewhere. Huh?
yeah.
Like Ceremony just should have the tallest building here in Daly City and just put a fucking flag, dude.
We should just fly it from Seaton and Ceremony, just so you see it from the freeway too.
Dude, and then have like on the side of the building. It was like, because I remember when I was in Philippines, man, Manny Pacquiao was fucking. You know how he's a god out there, right?
Yeah.
And during the time when I went, it was like at his peak of his career, I think. And I was just on the freeway because we were heading out to like a dinner, and that motherfucker had a whole side of a building of him punching something, but he was promoting a painkiller. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, that's what we need. We need a fucking big poster of Manny Pacquiao somewhere.
Promoting painkillers.
Probably not painkillers, just if you think about it, like you never know who's really Filipino anymore because there's so many like crossbreeds. Right?
Yeah.
Like I hear there's a half Filipino dude on the Lakers.
Yeah. Half Filipino, half black.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you? Are you full?
I'm full, man. Like I said, I was born and raised here. My mom is from, she's a Ilocano, so she's from La Union. It's really, like I've been there, and it's a shithole. Granted, it's a beautiful, Philippines is beautiful, but between that, like 7-8 hours out, you start in the provinces, and it was culture shock for me, man. I'm not gonna lie. I went to one of my cousin that's here from the Philippines. Like I went to his hometown, it's Parañaque, and it's near Manila. Dude, the fucking from building to building, it's like literally like 12 feet of like that's just how much space they have in between each other. I went to my uncle's house over there, and there was kids in the landfill living in there. And like, it's Philippines back then. I don't know how it is now, but just like the third world poverty stricken part of Philippines, it's crazy. And I'm glad I was able to see that stuff because, like they need some fucking help. Like I was in Boracay, one of the places where it was like a paradise. I was like, man, this is fucking beautiful. I crossed the street, maybe away from the beach. There's people dumping oil in the local water main and sewage, and there's people living and digging through that shit. There's a beautiful area, and then it's just like the ghettos here in America. You can be in the most beautiful spot, a couple of feet away, you can be in the most shitty spot. So I was in La Union, and it wasn't shitty. It's just one of those developments where they use like manure as like concrete. So my grandma was like, "Hey, check out my new house, man! Like it got walls this time. It's not like straw, It's not
yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is tight, Like I went there and I was skating back then. I broke my skateboard over there.
Oh, you brought your skateboard
and that was a big mistake because all these fucking kids were following me. They were like chasing me. I was going down the hill, like, and I was just like,
how old were you?
Oh man, I think it was 2001. So I'd say I was like 21 years old. So I was able to drink. And it was great. And, I'd go down because I'd spend a week in the province, and then we'd spend a week in the city and go back and forth. And the amount of like love that people give when they know that you're their relative and you're from United States, or you've been to the United States, it's crazy because I'll be trying to sleep, and then they'll just be huddling around, like just chilling, waiting for me to sleep, and I'm just like, damn, this is crazy. And they didn't ask for anything from me because I'm a taller guy. Like the only thing I gave away was maybe like a tank top that my cousin liked, but I'm sure they were eyeing my J's. I think I brought some. I didn't know better, but my feet are too big, so they're not going to ask for it. So it's.
And these were your cousins, right?
Yeah, these are my cousins. Like they're a lot smaller. Like especially in the more poverty stricken places, like they're skinnier.
Yeah.
They're a little bit smaller.
It's crazy just to think of the differences that we kind of live through just because we grew up here or are living here.
Yeah.
Right? Even if we connect with being Filipino and there are aspects of Filipino culture in us and in our lives, right? We love it. We talk about it all. Then the comparison though in terms of lived experiences when you see people in the Philippines right now, it's kind of like, whoa, it's almost like, what the fuck do we do?
Yeah.
Right? Because on some level you want to help, but you don't really know how, and you're being
or
pulled,
you can't,
you can't because you're struggling here too, right? Trying to pay your rent, right? But then people are there struggling on a different level. Because I was just watching the news, TV Patrol, Filipino news
Dude,
yesterday.
That thing is still going on.
Hell yeah! And my they were just showing where they had a secret prison inside the back of these police stations behind a bookshelf. Yeah, there was this one police station in Tondo where it's like the ghetto, right? Tondo is really poverty stricken, and then behind a bookcase they literally a secret one, they moved the bookcase to the side. It's an entrance to this secret prison where it's not even more than 3 feet wide. They only have one ceiling fan, and there's like a whole bunch of prisoners there.
God
and
damn.
The lady was saying that's where they shit and shower. And then they looked on the records. Those people who were found there weren't even officially documented and arrested, like into the blotter. And I'm just sitting there like upstairs in my nice ass couch just thinking like, what the fuck? I have a nice ass garage studio here, just like comparing these things and trying to just make sense of it all. Like it's a mishmash. We're in such a unique like experience as Filipino Americans where we're still drawn to our culture, connected but separated at the same time, even geographically, right? And culturally on some levels, and economically, definitely. Like just being Filipino Americans is like a privilege.
Yeah.
And
totally. Just being, like you're saying, just being here.
Having roads, bro.
Yeah.
Right?
Dude, or playing basketball with shoes on. I've seen some kids playing fucking basketball with their bare feet.
I need to learn how to play basketball though. That's because they love that sport in the Philippines. I need to get good enough so I can just do pickup games in the province there. Yeah, because that's their sport, and it's beautiful. It's dope. I like seeing the camaraderie, the like even just desire to play it. They make their own out of like a wood backboard
and then a milk crate.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they do.
It's cool. John from FTCC, he comes in once in a while. And
Dude.
2L, shout out to Never to Lose, I think NL2 Never Lose Foundation, where he does that's just a calendar reminder podcast session with Sean Pierre, where he does scholarships.
Dude, he was telling me about that, and that's amazing stuff. And
for basketball,
I would have never known about that unless I asked.
Yeah.
I just asked what he was into, and when he told me that he goes back and forth from the Philippines, like that, that automatically drew me to him to ask more questions, because I was like, what the fuck are you doing going back and forth? Like, I mean, for someone that goes back and forth that much, you got to be doing something. But that's what I'm saying. Like, he in a sense, he's almost a hero,
Yes,
and
he is,
nobody acknowledges that.
And the thing is, almost real heroes don't try to get the acknowledgement.
I agree.
Right? I know this other dude, like, also, what's crazy is he's born here. No, wait, was he born here? He grew up here at least. I know for sure he grew up here.
But he has an established life here.
He has, he has an established life here. Yeah. And just going back to, he coached high school here and everything. he just starts one day just to go back. Good jiu-jitsu guy. He just decides to go back there, bring some basketballs, and starts playing with the kids. And now he's moved there. He moved his whole family there just to continue this foundation of sending kids to college.
And he can come back anytime he wants.
Yeah. And he just decides, no, this is what I got.
I'm sure he comes back every year because I'm sure he has to handle taxes.
Yeah, for family and everything too. And I know another person who did that, who was from here, grew up in San Diego, Filipino American to the roots, right? Like only connected it through community centers and everything. Then he just moved to the Philippines. Now he's living there as a community organizer.
That's amazing, man.
It's crazy how much of a pull the Philippines has to a lot of Filipino Americans.
I know, but like I said, we're not getting the fucking recognition, dog. Like, I know Eric Spoelstra, you know, he won an NBA title. Remember the coach for the Miami Heat? That was huge for Filipinos.
What? He was Filipino?
Yeah, full blown, dude.
Oh, I don't know.
He was there, I think, when LeBron was there. And I think that's who they won the title with. I mean, that's the only fucking Billy Crawford.
Billy Crawford. We can go. I know I've tried to put a bunch of lists together. Like we have successful, the lady from Pussycat Dolls.
Yeah, Nicole.
Or because the thing is, we also have this behavior to latch on to people because of their genetic lineage of being Filipino. Dave Bautista,
totally,
right? Or Bruno Mars. Oh, he's part Filipino. But I mean, it's good in that sense. But there's no next step of development of a larger Filipino community. I've seen it only in academic spheres. There's a lot of academic Filipino groups and all that.
Yeah, like State has a really good one.
State has a great program.
Like,
and
what was it called again?
They have PACE, Filipino Academic Collegiate Endeavor.
My wife actually did.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because then you'll be surprised. There's a lot of people, even non-Filipinos have done it. They go in there because it's such a good...
And it's strong.
It is.
It's a strong community. I just went to their Filipino cultural night and they roll deep, bro. There's like 40 plus, I don't even know, just them performing Filipino dances.
It's a great networking
I think it's a part of that process of developing the larger Filipino community, right? But there's... I don't really have my finger on it, but... in terms of mainstream media representation, it's only just, oh, he's part Filipino. Yay. There's no Filipino culture representation. You feel me? On some level, there's some cool, if we compare ourselves to other groups, right? White representation, of course, that's majority of media. There's black representation
all over the place,
and that's like hip. You can argue good and bad.
There's even Korean.
There's stereotype. There's Korean, right? And Chinese, and all of them have their good and bad representations, right? Filipino is somewhat there. You can reach out, but there's nothing really sharing our culture, right? There's that one guy who actually came from Westmore High School who's on My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Yeah, it's a series, and he's like the heartthrob of the show. Actually, the main character is a white girl.
Really?
Yeah, and she likes him. Does
he advertise he's Filipino?
There's actually interest. There's like Filipino mini culture stuff in the show, which is interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, they had a Filipino Thanksgiving dinner like that, and there was dinuguan in it, I think, and like she tried to cook dinuguan, so it's cool. There's like there's some representation. So
do you remember when Bourdain went to Philippines?
Yeah, but I didn't watch the whole episode.
That's a good one. Yeah, but then Bourdain's he's so baller.
Yeah,
so he gets to do all baller shit. But the cool thing is he went to Jollibee. I think he went to Jollibee or something like that.
He went to Jollibee.
Dude, I fucking love Jollibee.
Yeah, he was like, halo, yeah.
Dude, I love when people do that type of stuff too. Like when, like Balut has gotten so popular nowadays ever since like Fear Factor and all these other. Do you eat it?
Yeah, I like it. Too. But I've noticed that there's a different flavor with the balut you can get here versus in the Philippines.
I haven't had one in the Philippines.
It's so good, and it's really great pulutan. The food that you eat while drinking.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
You gotta clarify that.
Yeah. It's so dope that we have a word specifically, pulutan. is specifically food you eat while drinking.
So if you don't have balut, what do you eat when you're drinking?
Like I like the calamares or fried stuff.
Fried stuff.
Yeah, fried stuff.
I like
sisig. I just get a full meal sometimes. I was just like that. But like pica pica, right? The whatever like hand food that they have just to get our germs too, just to add to that flavor.
Yeah.
But the balut as pulutan, bro, after a drink I can down like 4.
Really?
Yeah, because there are times when I remember just drinking there on the side, like near some Starbucks in Manila, whatever, and then we're just
Starbucks
drinking.
in Manila.
Yeah, and we hear balut, we're like, let's go. And then I can just down it, man. Crack, sip the juice, add the vinegar, and then
vinegar.
Yeah,
you
it's
add
good
vinegar
with
now?
the vinegar. You add this. There's this mix. They have a bottle. It's like a chili vinegar mix.
Yeah.
It's all. It has all the little.
Do you ever have people bring that stuff back from the Philippines?
No.
Dude, my aunt be bringing that shit back, dog. Like all the smoked fish and stuff. Yeah. Dude, that stuff is amazing.
They have now though at Seafood City.
They do?
Yeah, they have.
So they're doing
bunch.
import-export on that shit?
Yeah, they've done.
How come I haven't been to Seafood City, dog?
You're close by. You're right here. Do you know it's right here on Westboro?
I know it was where the old because there used to be the old Goldilocks.
Yeah.
So they just flipped that whole area and turned it into Seafood City.
They turned it into Filipino land, bro. It's Seafood City, Jollibee, Red Ribbon.
Red Ribbon?
Chowking. They opened the Chowking there.
What's good at Chowking?
It's not that good.
Fuck that.
I tried it just for posterity, just to like, it's Chowking.
Just so you do it.
Yeah, but it was I'd rather go Jollibee. Jollibee, your money goes well with just the chicken joy.
What's up with the Kenny Rogers roasters?
Hey, you brought it back.
Yeah. I remember being at the mall and then my uncle was like, "Hey man, you gotta try this place, Kenny Rogers roaster." I was like, "Dude, this is just like a BJ's or something like that, or like a roast chicken thing." But it was
pretty good. They're solid with their like. I'd rather go to Costco. Get
their rotisserie.
Because it's basically rotisserie chicken. That was the highlight of Kenny Rogers Roasters, if I remember right. It was just like real good grilled type of way and all that.
Do they have any Filipino food trucks?
Yes. Sisig.
Senior Sisig. Yeah. Besides that, because they were the first ones to kind of do it. But I'm surprised there hasn't been any other people that are following suit because Senior Sisig it's so innovative that they're doing, it's tacos, fusion tacos, Sisig tacos.
Dude, the
Sisig
line
burritos.
for them at off the grid every time I go is long. Yeah. They have to bring out those like airport line.
The dividers.
The dividers,
because people get fucking rowdy as shit. There needs to be more of that stuff too, man.
There's Jeep Silog.
Jeep Silog?
Yeah, Jeep Silog, Silog.
So they serve silogs.
I think so. Yeah, if I remember, I've seen them once in a while. And
Jeep
then,
Silog.
dang, I forget the name, but there's actually a vegan Filipino food truck. They came to Skyline once.
How do that?
I don't know, but it was actually pretty good. I gotta say, I had the caldereta. And they got because it's tofu chicken.
Oh, okay.
And since
what about the sauce? It's tomato sauce.
It's tomato sauce, yeah. So majority of the flavor actually is in the sauce. So they can get it right. They got it right. It tasted good. I was at first like looking at them weird. I was like, y'all ain't gonna get it correct. I was like, yeah, it ain't gonna work. And then I had a free sample of I think they're laing or Mongol.
Damn.
And then I was like, what the fuck? This tastes good.
Legit, no, it's legit.
Yeah, because technically you can do Mongol with no meat.
Yeah,
and it tastes good. And I was like, all right, let me try that caldereta. And they got it right. And it's vegan. And it was just a little more expensive.
Oh, man.
But people are working. And it'll be cool to see. Maybe we just need better, like, distribution of information.
Yeah.
Right? Like you don't know. You were just asking, how else can we find out?
Like,
what's a hub that we can actually find that and support other Filipino-owned businesses? That's what I'm interested in.
Do you think that something Filipino has to just hit the mainstream somehow? Like, is it like, for example, a food truck? Is it a certain person that has to blow up, or is it? What is it going to take for Filipinos to get their recognition? Because healthcare is a huge a huge thing in Philippines, which is amazing because it's created so many jobs, and they're the best at it. Like, what is it?
I don't know actually, but I have a feeling it has to tie both cultural and economic, where we have to be better at supporting each other economically and culturally, socially, right?
So you're saying we need a Filipino Elon Musk?
Yes, we need a Filipino Elon Musk. We need someone who really understands how to touch base with the multiple generations that there are, the youngins, right, who are into the right?
Yeah.
Also the older generation who do not like weed or cussing, right? And tie that together so there's intergenerational relationships, also tying together economics where we support Filipino-owned businesses, whether it's restaurants or we delivery services, creatives, the musicians, the photographers put food on the table, and academics, right? Encourage kids to go to college, but also not just be a nurse, but take some of these ethnic studies classes that talk about your Filipino American history. It has to be like a comprehensive tie, but also like I don't think it's only within Filipinos, because it happens in other cultural groups, but it has to lessen this Filipino competitiveness with other Filipinos.
It's it's almost like having two pit bulls in the same room. And you don't know what's gonna happen.
Because it's in the larger Filipino culture of tribalism, because I'm Ilocano, you're Visayan, you're from Mindanao.
Oh my
God.
that
but at the same thing is like, you're with that dance group, I'm with this one.
It's so segregated.
Who did you date?
Who'd you train under?
Who'd you train under? What frat are you in, bro? I don't join frat. No. all these mini divisions. At the end of the day, dog, we're both brown motherfuckers in the US where they want to kick us out, right? but you've all got these mini divisions. He likes hip hop. He's like trying to be black. I'm the academic, or like he's too into school, that ethnic studies shit, right? Like these little divisions have to be kind of, I can't say that we'll forever get rid of it, right? Because every other fucking Chinese has it between Mandarin and Cantonese, right? But at the end of the day, what are the material results, right? How did these little Chinatowns come together? How did they build up all these strip malls that I see in San Gabriel Valley, right? How can Black communities have BET? How do they have Tyler Perry? How do they have people who own their businesses come up, right? And also push their own academics, right? And I think there has to be something, and I think it's getting there, but it's almost as if these different groups of Filipino Americans are progressing individually. Academics
not as a group, right?
Not as a collective group, right?
That's probably the disconnect right there, though. I think.
And I'm not sure, but I think that things are happening, progressing.
I hope so, man, because we just need more Filipinos out there. And we need more Filipinos that are proud to say they are Filipino.
But I think it's going to come in our generation, because I understand the previous generation. So many of our parents and that generation, right, did not even teach their kids Tagalog because they didn't want them having an accent. They didn't want them. I've had friends, right, straight up say, so many friends have said, my parents didn't teach me because they didn't want me having an accent.
That's terrible.
The last homie here, Herschel, said that his elementary school teacher told his parents, don't teach him another language because maybe he's not hanging out with the other kids because of his accent. Like that. And
that's the worst thing you could do.
And now so many kids our age, right, they're like, fuck, I wish I knew Tagalog, right?
Hey, I'm one of those people.
And I think with us talking about it, right, it can change. But it's not an overnight thing. But as long as we keep it in the forefront of our mind and not get caught up too much in Filipino, right? But like low-key, all right, Filipino.
Yeah, because in the end, you're representing you, you know, and you are a Filipino, so you got to wear it.
I like this this phrase. I was listening. Shout out to the Joe Rogan podcast. He got this one. I
love that podcast.
I love it.
Amazing.
He brainwashed me.
Me too.
But he had this one guest. I forgot his name, but he's like this altruistic atheist or whatever, some giver. But he had he's planning on giving majority of his life earnings away to charitable donations.
I listened to that one.
Yeah, I forgot his name. But his one phrase was "gain to give," and I really believe that. I would love to be able to set up my life where me and my loved ones are secure, that I can also be prosperous and gain a lot in order to give to specific subsets that I believe need empowerment.
Dude, that's what we need, man.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, that's in a sense the Elon Musk that we were talking about.
Question. Just to bring it back to you a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you consider yourself as? Like, what's your ethnic identifier?
I'm Filipino straight up. I remember seeing those checkpoints on applications and stuff. Like, what is? I think that's illegal almost nowadays. But what ethnicity are you? You know, like, and one says like Hispanic, white, Black, or Pacific Islander. Like, how come there's no like? I think now I'm starting to see more Filipino because I think we wanted to be separated from Asian, Pacific Islander.
Yep.
Because that's just such a broad fucking
super
title.
Broad. Because I think the reason why that happened was that just under Asian,
it also fit Indian people as well.
Yeah, and it did not really address for social services in terms of their studies. It did not address that there are definite economic differences between the Northern Asia, like Chinese, Japanese, Koreans, more highly educated, versus the Southeast Asians, Thais, Laos, Cambodian, Filipinos, and if you look at the stats, they have lower educational achievement.
I never knew that. You're probably right though, because China being such a big powerhouse like that, it's just that alone.
They have a lot more outside money being able to come in too. While a lot of these Southeast Asian countries like Cambodians or Laos, they came here or Vietnamese, they came as refugees, right? And that's a different subset of the Asian population. So I think that's why it flipped.
Yeah, so I say Filipino American though, man. Just because I am American. I mean, it sucks. I don't know Tagalog, and it really does suck because I can't even speak to, like, I can't get the conversation when like my friends are talking something, because my friends they're pretty fluent, and my wife, she understands it at least. You know,
you're like, translate for me.
Like when her mom's telling a joke, I just kind of have to ask her, and I'm like, hey, what'd she say? I'm like, I'm just kind of late, you know. So like Filipino, man.
You're like a semi weird, like you're not like a white boyfriend, but you're like a semi.
I'm just like the awkward.
Like middle 75%.
Awkward Filipino dude. Like,
because it's funny.
He doesn't look Filipino, but he eats the food. Where he's talking about Kilawin, right?
He knows it because that happens. My sister's boyfriend, now fiance, is white, and then sometimes
he's getting it, huh?
When I joke, when we're talking and stuff, I feel bad. Like when I tell something funny, we're laughing, so I just have to be on the side translating. By the way, because I don't want him feeling that we're laughing at him or anything.
Or you just see his face when everyone's laughing. He's just like,
So I'd make it a point sometimes to translate. I was like, dude,
you're a good dude for doing that.
Because I feel sad. I'm like, I gotta get him, and to slowly, hopefully, have him learn.
I feel like that guy all the time. I swear to God. So I feel him, dude. I really do.
But you're culturally Filipino in a sense.
I am, because I ate all the food that doesn't make me Filipino, but just, the way I was raised as well. Apparently I understood the language when I was younger.
When you were younger,
but my mom says it just kind of fell off.
Did you ask your mom why they didn't teach you Tagalog? Or why they didn't continue using it?
I've never asked that, but if I had to guess, it was just the fact that, like when you're born in, I think they were born in like 53 or something like that.
Oh, shoot,
they came here when they were in in high school or something like that. My dad, I think, went to Lincoln.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, my mom went to McAteer when it was, but now it's School of the Arts. Now it's School of the Arts. Like it's over there on Portola near Twin Peaks. But yeah, like I think it's just the way I was raised. Like, they had to have multiple jobs to put food on the table. So we didn't see, like I was always with my grandparents. I was one of those kids that, we were thrown to the grandparents because my parents had to work.
Yeah.
Like I had 2 sets of grandparents, so we had to kind of alternate. So culturally, I was learning a lot from them, and they're super old school. And I'm Ilocano, and my dad is Kapampangan, so there's 2 kind of different lifestyles.
Yeah.
Because my Kapampangan side was kind of, they have a house in San Francisco. Like they've had
more
that for,
established.
Well, not even more established. Just the fact that when they came here, they had a little bit more money, so they bought a house, like literally on Ocean Avenue. And
how about the other side?
The other side, I'm going to mention her. And the thing is, do you call all of your like great aunts or something like that, or aunts?
Tita.
I call them like in my culture or in our culture, every elder is a grandparent.
Yeah.
So in my head when I was younger, I had like 20 grandparents.
Oh, so Lola. In a sense.
Yeah.
You call them
exactly.
all of them Lola.
All of them are grandma this, grandma that. But then my 2 main sets of grandparents, they're the ones that took care of me. But yeah, it's just being raised by different like older Filipinos as well. I was never able to catch on because one was speaking another language, like my Ilocano
parents. They speak Kapampangan.
They were speaking. I couldn't. And I remember being a kid, and we'd play these games like, oh, what's the word in Filipino? Like, we'll give you money. Like, we'll give you we'll give you $1 if you can guess what this word is. And they were like, and I would mix it up because like they would say, how do you say rice? And I'm like, in my head, I'm fighting myself because it's like in Kapampangan, it's like nasi or something like that, and then in Ilocano, I forgot what it was.
Oh shit! Because then you're learning also the dialect ones.
Yeah, I'm learning like the different types of how to say one thing, and I get confused, and they're like, and they would laugh at me, and I'm like, why are you laughing? That's the right word. It's like, nah, dude, we're not talking about that language. So for me, it was tough because, and at the same time, I also I went to public school like. Right off the bat, like I wasn't like a transplant from Philippines, and it just, I immediately latched on to American style, like TV.
Yeah.
Like I was watching way too much TV when I was a child. Like I guess I just didn't want to learn it, wrestling and shit. That was a big part. Yeah.
Where did you go to high school?
I went to a few, man. Like when I was in San Francisco, at the time I was living in the East Bay. I think from when I was about 8 till about my sophomore year of high school. But I still went to school here, which was really hard because imagine you're a kid, you're supposed to be learning, but you're waking up at 4 a.m. because you gotta beat traffic.
Travel. Damn.
So like our commute was pretty bad. My parents, the ultimate dream is to have a house, right? Beautiful fucking house, yard, backyard, deck, landscaping and shit. So they were both working for the same company. They were making good money. They're like, fuck this. Let's go move to the East Bay because it was cheaper, man. I think the house out there was like $200,000, 5-bedroom fucking house. But I'm away from school. Like right after school, I got to take the bus downtown. Then we got to go across the bridge. By the time we get home, it's 8:00. I got to do my homework. Fuck that. My grades were slipping.
This was high school?
This was ever since I started struggling in school, ever since middle school, because I don't blame it on the commute, but fuck, man, like I had to lie to my parents. Like, did you do your homework? Yeah, I did my homework. I just go to sleep. But I went to. I was supposed to, because and this is not to teach people how to live in a place and then go to school in a certain place, but we had relatives
yep.
that lived in
people do that until
they do
now.
It all the time.
They do that until now.
So like I went to Wallenberg for a little bit, which is
Wallenberg.
It's a predominantly Asian school. It's out in Geary and Masonic. They didn't even have a football team. Like it's more.
That was a high school?
It's a high school, and it's actually one of the big skate spots too. Like when people come worldwide, they go to the high school because it's a good skate spot. Yeah, Wallenberg High School. Oh, all skate videos you'll see them. They all stop at Wallenberg.
So you got deep into skating too?
When I got into it a little later, but yeah, I did because I was just such a fan, you know. So I went to Wallenberg. My sister went there for 3 years, dude. And tragic thing, someone got murdered over there, and I think that's the point where my dad was like, let's
at the high school.
Yeah, like some guy was chilling in front of the bus stop. I forget his name because I used to always see his photo all around. But then people came up, just shot him in the head. Just they rolled up and
was it like gangs?
I believe it was gang related. You know, like back when the height of gangs and Asian gangs back then.
Was this 90s?
Yeah, I'd say like early 90s.
Yeah, I heard that was the big.
It was pretty bad. Here, like you had to claim a color. Like I was in the East Bay and my sister was dating this guy and he was a fucking Crip, right? Like he was a really hardcore fucking Crip.
Your sister was dating?
Well, back then it's like that was just a thing to do. Like if you were bored like me, you're looking for I lived in the East Bay. There wasn't shit over there. You're looking for the thrill, like I wasn't doing any martial arts. I didn't have any
space to go.
Yeah, no space.
In a sense.
I was just rollerblading, you know.
Yeah, rollerblades.
Rollerblades was like the shit. And she was going out with this gang dude, and and all of a sudden I see myself wearing a fucking blue rag and fucking a cigarette in my mouth, and I'm only like 13 or something like that, you know, hanging out with gang members, and it's like, what the fuck am I doing? That's the type of shit that sucks about living out in like rural areas, you know.
Yeah. Like, but you didn't get sucked into it.
I didn't get sucked in like hard where I was jumping people and shit like that. No, never. All I did was like claim a color at one point, you know. So after going through that, and as you can imagine, like I've had like different sets of friends because I have like East Bay friends and I have my like school friends and whatnot. So after Wallenberg, I went to El Camino, just down over here.
Yeah, Elko.
And I learned a lot about myself there. I'll tell you that. Just because, like, there was a lot of girls there. You know, that was a big thing. Like, they had a reputation of having a lot of girls, and then it has a reputation for changing somebody as well. So
what?
I went in there claiming, Frisco this, Frisco that, because I still had that hard kind of shell because I'm new school. I knew one fucking person.
What grade did you go to?
It was a transition to freshman because when I was going to Wallenberg, it was a summer program and I was low on credits already. Like already right off the bat, they just let me graduate middle school because it was just get the fuck out, but you're behind, Yeah. So I had to make up some shit. I had to make up some credits. So then I went through the summer program at Wallenberg, and I just kind of dropped out because all that shit happened, and went to the orientation over at El Camino, and I'm just this Asian kid. The hairstyle at the time was long bangs in the front, and you got a fade, and then like a flat top.
Long bangs,
dog.
Did you? No, you didn't sweep it back.
Yes. That's exactly.
Yeah,
you have
the long bangs and sweep back.
Yeah, but then you kind of do the fucking hair whip, and it was a kind of a signification that you were like a break dancer or something like that. That was the big thing. I was into break dancing at the time, and then it just turned, like, as I started going to the high school, my style started to change. Like I started wanting to wear, hill figure and wanting to wear polo sports. So it's like,
shit.
But I didn't have a job. I didn't have money. My parents weren't going to buy that shit.
El Camino, how did it change you? How come it has a reputation to change you? And then what started that change?
It started to change me because I wanted to be like them. Like I wanted to dress nice.
Was it a lot of Filipinos back then?
Oh yeah,
at
dude.
Elko?
It was like, I'd say maybe at least 70%.
Yeah?
70%. And that's a huge number.
Dude, it's gone down.
Yes.
It's gone down.
And if you can imagine, like my sister also, she transferred over there with me. So it was good that I had her because, I would have been such a loner. I was hanging out with the older kids or whatnot, but it started to change me in the sense where, I was buying bootleg polo. My mom started slanging that shit for somebody. Like she was coming home with bags of like bootleg Calvin Klein.
Really? would she get it?
She would just get it from her coworker because, you know, back then, like, she had to pay for this house. It was a huge fucking, I mean, I'm not saying it was a sick ass house, but it was the biggest house I've ever lived in. 200,000 is probably not even a big mortgage right now. So, you know, back then the cost of living was a lot lower, and now we're talking about $1 gallon for gas. That was, you know, those times. And she would come home with these garbage bags full of, you know, like all those like name brand things. And I'm like, this has got to be real. It's got to be real. Like I couldn't tell a fake, you know, like I was just like, this shit's got to be real. I'm going to sport this shit.
She got that straight from the Philippines.
I'm going to get these fucking high-tech boots. They look like Timberlands, but they, you know, they're just, you know, kind of, they're Payless. They're Payless versions. I'm going to Marshall's getting this shit. I'm going to wear corduroy pants and this leather jacket that my dad has. I'm gonna just take it for the day. And I'm just going to
rock out at Elko.
Yeah, and I'm going to spray my dad's cool water because, you know, so that's when I started turning into one of them. And I was like, oh man. But it was short lived though, because I got kicked out like maybe
really?
I was only kicked out because at the time I didn't have enough credits to graduate. I pretty much had sophomore year credits, and I was a senior, and they homecoming was a little bit after the winter break or something like that, and I turned 18 already, and they were like, you have two choices, man. You can stay here another 2 years. I was like, stay here for another 2 years? I was like, my cousin's going to graduate when I fucking graduate. Or you go to adult school and, you know, finish it out over there. It's easier. Or you get a GED. And I was like, fuck that. I'm getting a GED.
Yeah.
And I bought a car.
You bought a car?
I got a job and I bought a car. That's it. I had no aspirations.
But you got your GED.
I got my GED.
It was just a test, right?
But that's not the mindset you're supposed to have. You know, you're supposed to finish. You're supposed to have the credibility of having that thing to go to college. I think I was just a little bit distracted by the pussy. And
I don't know, dude. Like, why do we talk down on the GED? Why is that?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I
was scared. I was scared to put that on my job application, so I would lie. I would be like, hey, I went to high school. But then back then they don't really check. They just see what you say. You know, it's like,
who the fuck cares? It's high school.
You know,
right?
GED is a great thing because it gets you over a certain platform because and it's like, I don't know, like you gotta.
In the bigger picture of things, it's fucking high school.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so much pressure is put onto this kid to like, you have to
especially now though. Especially now. Like, I don't think there was enough pressure. Like if my parents really would have, I feel like if my parents could have pushed me, but in the end, it's my deal. You know, I was the one that cut class. I was the one that didn't want to go to school. I was the one but I feel like there was just some kind of disconnect. Like if they would have just been a little bit on me a little bit more, that would have been a little bit better for me.
I wonder why. Why do you think there was a disconnect there? Is it because they were working?
I think it was work for them, and the fact that I grew into this rebellious person where, you know, I was seeking the thrill. I was seeking to get laid. I wanted to lose my virginity. You know, I had to be out, right? Like it's like I wanted to fuck. Like I wanted to fuck an El Camino girl. After a while, I didn't want to fuck an El Camino girl anymore. I was like, I want to fuck a Sacred Heart girl now. You know, like I really wanted to fuck. Like this
fucking body of ours, bro. Dude, we need some more help as young men, bro.
And I'm a visual person sometimes, man. Like I need to see some tits, man. Like so.
Oh shit. Oh no, we got too real, bro. We talked about the young man experience too much.
Dude, that's like when you're in heat. Like I know that shit. Like sometimes when my dogs, you know, when your dogs go in heat, like I understand them, man. I understand them. It's like.
That's why I got my neutered, bro.
Dude. So it's like when you're that adolescent teen, and you wanna smoke that first cigarette, or you want to drink that first 40, or you want to feel how it feels to go to that party and fucking score, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I was in for, you know, and that's probably wasn't the best mindset, but in the end, like I wouldn't be here, me. if I didn't go through all those experiences. Because I like at this point I don't give a fuck. I don't care if I didn't graduate high school, but I kind of care that I didn't go to college. You know, I went to Skyline directly after I got my GED and got a job and got a car and all this, but just for the pussy, dog. I swear to God. So let me tell you this. I went to my first, like, I had registration, you know, and registration's stressful because midnight, you got to be on that bitch, right?
Yeah.
So then
you got to sign up for your classes.
Yeah, and I didn't know any of this shit. I was all new to this, and my sister was like, you better get on that fucking shit, dog. And I was like, nah, I'll get classes, dude. Don't even trip. So the only thing that was left, Tagalog, right? And I think it was like a ceramics class or something, you know? And I was just like, all right, let's try this college thing out, right? So then once I go to the Filipino class and I'm late, you know, because I'm a fucking idiot, and then turns out there's the, you know, the big titty girl that worked at the piercing pagoda, because I was working at the mall too, right? I was like, oh shit, she's in the same class. I always wanted to meet her, so I just got distracted, you know, like I didn't listen. It's a Filipino class. I needed to learn this.
Yeah.
You know, I really needed to learn this.
You would have known Tagalog by now, bro.
So I got distracted. So I dropped out, you know, like, and I even went back again to another Filipino class. Same thing.
Distracted.
Yeah, distracted. So it's like, I just ended up dropping it, man.
Oh shit. I mean, dude, those are real stories though that I think would be very beneficial if the youngins hear too.
Yeah.
From folks like you, dude.
Yeah, don't get distracted from the pussy, dude, because it's
balance. Learn to balance, right? Because you can't go Sacred Heart monk, like celibate, because that's also going to like disbalance you. You'll be fucking waking up in the middle of the night like,
yes.
Like with that release, like you need to have a certain amount of, okay, I need to handle my relationship side because that's a real part of being a young man. But also handle the important academic side.
Yes.
If that's the goal that you're trying to go for, handle that too. Don't get too caught up.
Let me tell you this. If internet porn was as easy and accessible as it is today, back then, I think maybe, you know.
You're going to get into a rabbit hole, bro. Take it from the man who grew up with it at 9 years old with a dial-up, and learning how to clear the history at 9 fucking years old, bro. Learning how to go on all the online websites, change the URLs so I can go from one free gallery to the next,
man.
not having to pay but still stay on track with the story.
Pictures
bro.
were key.
Oh my goodness, you go into a rabbit hole. Go stop. Because then all the days of wasted time go with the real girl. But balance. Balance. But in the bigger picture, though, you're disappointed you didn't go to college, but you've done good. You've done good.
I mean,
Tell me, speak on it a little bit in terms of the entrepreneurial side, because I know you've been able to be successful as a photographer, put food on the table, right?
Well,
also, be successful as a businessman.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has their own different levels of success, right?
Yes.
So I wouldn't call it, you know, success. I mean, in other people's like eyes, they see that there's establishment there, and they think it's success. Like when people hear that I'm in the marijuana business, they think it's, you know, it's glitz and glamour, it's money like everywhere, and there's weed everywhere. I mean, they're right, there's weed everywhere, but that stuff is, you know, it's money. It's like money that's sitting. So, I mean, as far as entrepreneurial success goes, I mean, I call it small wins, you know, like if we can make it through, you know, this year and have, you know, like good sales, that, you know, that's a win for me. That's a form of success for me. But it's different, you know, like with photography, it was just so tough to show people what I can do. Because, you know, we have social media, and photography it's just like fighting. You're only good as your last photo on Instagram now.
Fuck.
So it's like you kind of have to be on it, and you have to. Now it's all about content. Like back then, I mean, it's not even that far back, but that's when it first started. Like I didn't know that I had to put content out like constantly, and I had a website, I had a portfolio, and I had a bunch of inquiries. I did. Darren Weniyama, our jiu-jitsu teacher, like he took me to levels where I've never thought I'd ever be published in a magazine. Like that was a huge win for me. Granted, like MMA magazines aren't like Rolling Stone or they're not like Time magazine, but just to see my name on paper was a huge win for me. And it only got better for me at that time because, people started noticing my work, and then it got me to transition to doing, like more people stuff other than like combat sports, because I loved combat sports, but it just doesn't pay. I was doing it because I loved it. Like I was doing it for free.
You're doing event photography.
Yeah, I was doing most of the Dragon houses at the time. I was shooting it for this local magazine called Vincent, and they were trying to be one of like the come ups on Bay Area MMA, and they wanted to expose people, and they were pretty much at the top of the food chain when it came to just MMA local magazines. So like they were in all the MMA gyms. They were, every time they found out I was from Vincent, like
Vincent?
Yeah.
Vincent.
I think it's Vincit. Yeah. I don't know why they called it that. Oh, okay. But they're no longer around. Oh, like okay, she ended up getting married and stuff. Yeah. But I would be cage side watching fights, exactly what I love to do, and I would take photos. Like that was the perfect life for me, but it didn't fucking pay.
Yeah.
And I grinded it out for as long as I could. And at one point I was like, dude, I'm tired of doing this for free. So like I started, I wanted to charge at that point, but you don't get really paid for much for shooting fights, So I transitioned over to like freelance stuff where it was like weddings, couples, commercial stuff for like, I have some friends that are entrepreneurs. I help them out with some stuff, like some product stuff. And it was just tough when, like I said before, it's tough when you're doing something as a passion and then doing something to put food on the table, because when you start doing it to put food on the table and you're just not to that point where it's like making you like a lot of money, it starts to water down. Like I was taking gigs just to take them, like because I needed to pay rent, to the point where it started ruining my relationship with my lady, because I had this I have this friend I was shooting photos for, and he was paying me pretty well. And when, he found someone that'll do it for less money, and it's business, it's business. In the end, it's business. Yep. I was a little butthurt, but I shouldn't have been, because it's business. I should have kept doing other gigs. I should have, I was kind of relying solely on what he was providing. And, that's when it started going downhill. Like, it was just like, I wasn't getting hit up anymore because, maybe my work started to suffer, and it sucked for me to close down or shut down my portfolio, because at the time, I was so into it that like, I thought that was it. Like I was going to fucking shoot through the stars, and I was going to be the best fucking photographer in San Francisco. And that just wasn't the case. So after that, you kind of have to just roll with the punches. Like for me, one thing that I have a hard time doing is realizing, when, like it's realizing when I'm losing. Like I'll just try to keep going, push. But then, that's when you need that's when you need to tap out. And luckily, my wife, she saw it from the outside, and she, for the most part, she was just like letting me do it because, it was my dream. And I loved her for it. But there was a point where she was like, look, if we don't change things, then dude, we can't pay rent, and we're not going to have this, we're not going to have that. And then, it started to get to the point where she's like, I might have to just like you know, like this is not the life I want to live. And that's when you start doing, oh shit, I'm about to lose my girl over this shit.
I might have to go back selling AT&T.
Exactly. You know,
scout out ceremony again.
And at that point I was like, dude, I'll fucking work at Starbucks. I don't give a shit. Yeah. I even went back to wrenching after like
wrenching?
Yeah, working on cars. Like I became I was a janitor for God's sakes. Like I've worked so many fucking jobs that like, that's why when I see like, you know, like how bad people treat like labor, blue collar labor, Filipinos, Mexicans and all that. I've been through those jobs where I had to clean up after people, or I had to clean up after events, or clean up bathrooms and shit like that. That's the shit that people don't see, you know, like when people work hard, they work 10 times harder than some of these people, and they're not getting the paycheck. They're not getting the recognition, and they don't care because it's providing them with, you know, like what they got. And luckily, you know, my wife, she saw everything that was happening, and she grounds me, man, because I come up with some weird shit, especially when I'm high or something like that. I'll be like, I want to do this. She's like, I don't know about that. She's like, yeah, and, you know, like there was one idea. I was like, I mean, how come we can't put penises on t-shirts? But she's like, I don't think the world's ready for that.
You said that was an idea?
Yeah. She's like, I want to make t-shirts where, you know, I want to put like hidden dick somewhere, and like. And it's just a big fucking joke, and we'll call it buto, you know, like, you know, that's the fucking Ilocano word for dick, and like, I think it's gonna be great. Let's put like maybe like let's do like 500 shirts, and she's just like, I don't know, man, that's like. Yeah, I brought that up one time, and luckily she brought me back.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't, that would have been terrible.
Shit, maybe at least 1 or 2 concept shirts. I'd be down to rock it, bro. Around here, I'd rock a buto.
Can you imagine? So I used to play disc golf with my friends when I was unemployed, right? Yeah. Disc golf. There's a couple of disc golf courses. It's just like golf with frisbees.
Oh, and you're trying to just get to a certain...
There's a goal. Yeah, there's a goal. Boom. It's fun, man. I think you really like it, dude. And they have special discs for it, so that's why it makes it really cool, yeah. They have like a putter, driver, and a medium. My friends got really into it when we were all unemployed. They got really into it. I went with them like a bunch of times, but it's fun as fuck. Yeah. But so you have to differentiate your discs, or else, because there's other people playing.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like golf. So you're throwing 300 yards. Like it's a big course.
Like pretty big.
It's a big course, yeah. So you're throwing, I don't know about 300 yards, but it's a long course. And they have like 18 holes, which is fucking insane. And
Where is this?
Golden Gate Park. So you can imagine they have the space.
Yeah.
So when you throw them, sometimes you'd be like, oh, is that mine, or is that the guy on the next hole? Like he might have fucked up or something. So I drew a dick on mine, right? so like I drew a dick, and it looked pretty like I put a lot of like thought into it, you know, because I was like, you know, like I want my shit to be different, you know. Like, I even named it. Like I named it, like along the shafts, I named it Al Qaeda. I named it Al Qaeda, right? So then there was one time where me and my boys were playing, and then like I threw the disc, and and mine landed along the trail where people walk, because you actually have to call forward, because dude, if you get hit with a fucking disc, that shit will cut you open, you know. So my disc was dick side up, right? Yeah. So this white chick, she freaking walked by. She goes, "Oh my god, there's a dick on that dick, or on that disc." Yeah. And then she goes, "Oh, it's an ugly one." And then me and my boys were just laughing. Like I was just like, oh my god. So that's like, I've just been that guy. I've been that, you know, in Superbad, you know, there's that guy that was drawing dicks all the time.
Yeah.
I've been drawing dicks like since, like me and my cousins been doing it since we were kids. So like we draw some mean dicks.
Oh no, what the fascination.
I don't know, because we've been watching porn ever since we were young, and like, you know, like it's just that thing, you know, like that thing we did.
It's just a natural inclination. I think it's the testosterone that calls out to you to represent I mean, if you think about it, there's a lot of phallic and like vagina, yoni imagery in a lot of even architecture.
Yeah.
Even if you go to like the old school ones, like I know this one it's called Silo's Message, and they're a group of like meditators, and they have little meditation spots and everything.
Yeah.
They have a statue that's in all over the world in their different locations, and basically it's just a phallic image of like a fountain there, and then the vagina, which is the watering carrier. So maybe there's something just innately inside of us that just wants to draw dicks.
I don't know.
I'm down for that. If you make a concept shirt, bro, I'ma rock that buto, bro. I'ma rock it. I'm down to represent. Like that's one of our where we come from.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've always tried to be creative with drawing dicks, though. Like. Well, just in general, you know, like whether it's drawing dicks, photography, or like anything like that.
Taking pictures of dicks.
Yeah, I just want to. I've never taken pictures of dick, but if someone paid me, I'd do it. I don't give a fuck. You know?
I saw your photo shoot with your wife when she was pregnant.
Yeah, man. It
was good.
Yeah, it was cool picking up a camera again because it's like I was really like heavy into like to the point where I was such a nerd about it, and you know I spent the money. I even sold my fucking Miata for this camera. Yeah, dude.
Fuck.
I think I bought it for like it was like $3,500
for what camera?
At the time, it was like the biggest shit. It was a 5D Mark III.
Oh shit!
Yeah, but now it's like that thing just lost so much value. Now I think you get a body alone now for maybe like less than $2,000 now.
Holy shit!
It's a great camera, man.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
I stick in the 300.
Yeah,
range.
Dude. Hey, I ended up getting something very similar to that Rebel over there, and yeah, dude, that's
dang. You got good. The eye. You got the eye for it. The camera's even flipped around. You can't even see the front.
I was like, I got one of those.
Yeah, you got the photographer gear eye, my dude.
For
legit.
real. Like,
that was a test. That was the legit test. I wouldn't be able to tell that.
Yeah, dude,
I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, that's a DSLR. Okay. Yeah. Dang, you were deep into it.
I was really deep, man.
But tell me that transition. You were saying, right? Your wife said, "Yo, we need to switch," and you got into those different jobs.
So,
what got you into? You said you first got like a delivery service job, but what got you into starting it yourself?
I'll probably sound like an asshole for it, but I just saw how much money he was making, and then I also didn't like how he handled his collective. Like it was just, it was dirty for one. It was like we were pretty much in like a basement, and like he had a cat. My allergies,
professional.
Yeah, and you know, like, and you like the natural reaction is to be like, I can fucking do this. I can do it better, or I can.
How much was he raking in?
A lot.
Like 6 figures.
Yes.
Okay.
But his
he had
sales,
employees.
his sales.
How many employees?
He had a few. It was only a few select people, and you know he was doing like in sales. He was doing 7 figures. You know, like it was $1 million business. Yes.
What?
Yeah, but that's sales. You know, that's not including tax. That's not payroll.
The final.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that we discovered. Like when we first. So to bring it back, once, you know, I was smoking on the job. Like, I'm not gonna lie, he fired me for smoking on the job, and he also got wind that I was gonna like. He even pulled me to the side one day, and he was like, "I heard you're gonna start your own thing." I was like, "No." Like, where'd you hear that from? He's like, "Well, maybe. I mean, like if I could, you know, like." And the thing that hurt the most, I think, was that it wasn't like he was like, "Oh, dude, if you would start, you know, like I'll help you, or I'll, you know, like if you need guidance or you need advice, you know, I can guide you, or I can, you know, I can point you in the right." He didn't have to help me or anything. He could have just been a little bit more understanding about it. Instead, he got offended, you know,
and then just kicked you.
After that, like a few days went by, and he had to find a reason to fire me, and that was because he's been knowing I've been smoking on the job, but he just used that as a fucking segue to fucking fire my ass. And the thing is, like, these aren't real jobs. You know, this shit's not documented. You know, I was making money under the table. Yeah, fuck that. I was making under the table.
Don't.
And you know, like it that's just the way it was. Like he had every right to fucking fire me. I was probably a cancer in his business. I probably would have become one because no one else was smoking on a joint. Well, yes, they were. Come on. I wasn't the only one, guy. And then after that,
coming out.
After that, and what the fucked up thing was, like when it was good, because I was making all right money. Like I was making tips because I was, I was an approachable guy. Like
Did they tip you?
Totally.
When you deliver,
and
people tip
I would
you?
make, dude. There was one night I was making $100 on tips, a couple of nights, and this was during the holidays, and after that, I was like when I was working for him, I proposed to my wife. I was making enough where I was like, I can get this ring. Things are good. I'm not going to leave this job. I had no idea I was going to get fired. I had no idea I was going to try to start my own business. So if you can imagine the day I fucking came back from work, I was like, I was crying, dude. I was like, he fucking fired me. I was crying. That's a devastating fucking thing to do is when you're, and this is after I ended up moving to San Francisco also during that time. Because we were living in Daly City. We had that was probably my favorite spot I've ever lived in. Yeah. But we had to leave.
Expensive.
Yeah, it was expensive, and there was other plans for that place, and so we moved to San Francisco. So at the time, also I was growing weed. I was learning how to grow weed, and in San Francisco, it's legal to grow weed.
Yeah,
a certain amount of weed. And after I told her, she was just like, "It's okay," she just had such a positive outlook on it. She was like, okay, let's do this, or we'll start looking for this, or maybe you can start shooting again, or maybe like there was no way she made me feel like shit,
Yeah,
and
that's dope.
And I'm an emotional guy. Like I was crying pretty hard. I was like, I was, when guys that don't cry, they cry. It's just like, fuck. I was just crying. I was bawling like fucking someone took my fucking my porn collection away or something. But after that, like I was just like, we were trying to think of things that we could do. After it all kind of smoothed out because I was pretty emotional, I was like, why don't we just? I know some people. Why don't we just try? She was like, how much do you think it'll cost? I was like, I don't know. So we started doing the numbers. I found out how he did it, and I just emulated everything that he did. Which isn't good because he had bad habits that carried on to me. And that's when it all started.
When did it start? When was it?
It was September 2000. Our official open day was September 8th, 2014.
Dang.
And I remember opening the first day and just sitting by the phone, and I'm just like, fucking ring, motherfucker. Like ring. Because if it's not ringing, we're not making money. And, the first couple of weeks were real tough, and then as we started getting regular customers, it started getting really, really good, right? I was like, holy shit, we're doing pretty damn good. And disaster strikes, like there were a couple things where we were led to believe we can have like a bank account, and we were able to, use credit card as a form of payment. Mm-hmm. And we just got shut down. Like our bank account got shut down. We had some money in there. And the thing is, the check was made out to say like Mighty Breed or something. We can't cash that shit because it belongs to an entity or like or corporation. Mm-hmm. And no bank would let us catch it because it wasn't assigned to Sean or it wasn't assigned to Pam. And that's when it kind of started to snowball like down. And I told you, man, like in this industry, it's either you got some financial backing from like venture capitalist or like someone with a big pocket. Yeah,
especially now that's being more commodified.
It was tough for us because we didn't have no sponsor. We didn't have like someone backing us, and it was just a big fucking sine wave. Like
sine wave. You got technical on us,
dude. It was a huge sine wave. Like it'll be shitty, good, shitty. Like it'll be. We've had ups and downs, and we've made good money, and then tax comes around. Oh. What do we do with tax? We had no idea how to do tax.
Oh shit!
So we had to find accountant. We had to, like we learned
There's
everything.
There's a lot
on
of
the fly.
learning on the way.
Yeah, and I was like, how are they supposed to tax marijuana?
Yeah,
you know, like it's like how did and you know we just found out a lot of things. We just found out everything on the fly. We made bad investments. We made good investments, and you know, right now it's with Mighty Breed. I'm a lot happier. I'll tell you that. You know, like in the beginning, we probably shouldn't have quit our jobs because she had a good job. I had, I probably should have had a side.
Both of you quit your jobs.
Yeah, because I thought it was going to be like the other guy. I really did. I thought we were going to be that fucking busy. And when we weren't, you know, we were just sitting there and we were just doing marketing. We were just, you know, we were doing our thing. And there was a point where my wife was like, I got to go back because we need to survive, you know? And so she went back to work, thankfully, and she worked like these weird jobs and stuff. And mind you, she's never been out of a job for that long. You know, like she's always been working. Yeah. And for her to drop everything and, you know, join this venture with me was amazing. No other person would ever do that, you know? And she saw the ups and downs, and she went back, and I was on my own. I think that was very detrimental to our business because now I'm by myself. Now I'm delivering. I'm doing granted, she's doing the accounting, which was something I would never fucking do because I suck at it. I suck at numbers. I was doing all the marketing. I was doing like deliveries, answering the phone, and like now I started losing sight, and shit was starting to fall through the cracks. And mind you, this is when, you know, we lost our merchant, we lost our bank account, we never went back to it. We're still getting paid. But we were getting paid as much as we were before it because when it was good, and now, you know, I went through another realization. Like, you know, me and her talk a lot, you know, because we have good communication. That's the one thing I love about her, is that we have good communication. And I think that's what a lot of people ask me, hey, how long you been with your lady? Dude, I've been with her for about 14 years.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And the only way it's worked is because of the communication. Like we build off each other. Like if she's into something, I'm going to help her. Like, or she's going to help me. And, so, you know, she had that talk again. There was that fucking talk. It's like, hey, you know, this is what you see and this is what I see. And it wasn't good. Like in order for us to advance, we need more income. Like we couldn't keep up with the supply and demand at the time, and we couldn't, like there was just so much demand, but people were coming to us, but they wanted something new all the time, but we didn't have the capital for it, you know, like it was just so.
But they wanted like a new strain.
Yeah, every week, it's like, what you got new? And then we'd lose them after a few weeks, you know, like it's, and you know, before we were able to do that because we were raking in some decent money, but when it started to fall off, it started making tough to keep up with the demand. So, you know, we made it work, but then in my head, I was like, I don't want to live like this anymore, man. Like it's like with the birth of my son, that's when when we found out we were pregnant, that's when it really fucking came to. It's like, are we going to be able to raise this kid solely on marijuana and your day job? And we no. So I ended up getting a job. So now, you know, granted, I hired a guy to deliver for us. I still work the phones, but I have a job that allows me to do both. I can work both jobs and be in two places. You know, like I don't necessarily have to deliver anymore, but now I don't have that pressure to always
take everything on.
Yeah, exactly. You. Like it. Like
is this your first employee? Like
yeah. We hired. Okay. Like he's you know, he's been a longtime friend. Like I met him when I was working for the other guy. Like he was a member. Like I was delivering to this guy, but he's just been very passionate about the industry. And you know, like I didn't really trust a lot of people. I still don't trust a lot of people in this industry, but he was one person I trusted, and I trust him with my product, and I trust him with representing the Mighty Breed brand. You know, like good customer service and good product. You know, so. I mean, that's where we're at now. Like I work my day job, and
what's your day job now?
So I'm a property manager for a firm out in in San Bruno. They have a bunch of properties in San Francisco, East Bay, and so I represent San Francisco. I watch over 10 properties in the city.
You have to drive around a lot.
Yeah, but it's okay because I've been driving around for the past fucking 5 years, so it wasn't anything to me.
Before, bro, all your Snapchats were all the different geotags, bro. You went every single geotag.
I went everywhere, dude. So it's like, I'm glad I'm not on the road anymore because, man, it takes a toll on your body, man. Just being on the road and driving. And, there were times where I had to, I'd be done for the night and there'd be a late fucking order. And I'm like, fuck, I got to go all the way out again. And, like there was a point where my son was born and I'd be out delivering. And it's just like, man, I don't like leaving my wife, she's brand new newborn and I have to go out deliver weed. It sucked, But like I said, like I have a different level of success, and success for me right now, my one thing is raising a healthy child at this point, and being able to juggle and being to another win for me is realizing that, like I'm not that big shit, or I'm not, like that fucking soldier that needs to fucking grind out. And, I need my wife I need my wife in my life so we can advance, so like, she telling me to possibly, like, she was like, what, do you think maybe you want to go back to work? And I'm just like, I thought about it. And, I haven't thought about that in so long because I was so determined on making Mighty Breed successful. And I bit the bullet and I'm happier than ever, honestly. Like it takes so much off my plate that like I have a guy delivering and I don't have to worry about
the dailies.
The dailies. And it's just, and to know that, our expenses for our lives, not just for the business, are taken care of, So I urge anybody, like any entrepreneur that wants to get into,
any field
is to, do your research first and make sure you have a good support system,
Yeah, it sounds like you have something really good with your lady, dude.
I do, man. And
it sounds like blessing.
I credit her. I credit her for everything that's going on.
Dope. Okay. So, just to kind of, I want to ask, right? We can start heading to the close. But I want to ask you for 3 pieces of advice, and I like doing it context-wise in a way where, how about 3 pieces of advice for somebody who may not necessarily have been the most academic in school. Maybe they got their GED too. Maybe they are in college, or maybe they dropped out of college too, right?
Yeah.
But have these entrepreneurial ideas and really want to pursue them. What are 3 pieces of advice?
3 pieces of advice for someone in my shoes. I'd say 1, get your network right, but not for the wrong reasons. Because all in you who you know at this point.
Then what do you mean? Could you expound a little bit more on that?
For example,
what are the wrong reasons and how do you get it right?
I'm sorry, what was the question? Can you
like the 3, because you said,
sorry, I was looking at my phone.
All good, you millennial. Yeah. But you said get your network right, but get it right not for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
Right? So what are the wrong reasons?
So some people try to just get a huge network just to have some type of pull, or just to get some it's like when people ask for discounts, same concept. It's like you only want to know someone because they're this person, or they have this much money, or they have or they can get you somewhere. You want to, for me, it's like when I network, I want to help that person, and that if that person wants to help me, I want to help that person. It has to be a 2-way street, right? Not a one-way. It can never be a one-way street. For if you want to network, you can't just be in it for yourself. Like you have to know that if you're going to network with someone, you're going to have to, eat balls, or you're going to have to sorry, that was just an expression. That's an expression that I use. You're supposed to.
It was so serious and what? I just envisioned Fear Factor or something. What's the deeper meaning behind this lesson? What?
Yeah. So you have to eat balls, and you kind of have to be. You have to grind. You have to help that other person out.
Yeah.
Two, I'd say make sure never to quit your job if you have one. Just because you can try out what you're gonna, because then if you drop everything, you're kind of fucked, right? Because if it doesn't work, you're fucked. You don't have anything to fall back on. So if you're gonna try anything entrepreneurial, just make sure you save up for it, or you don't quit your job, or make sure you have something in place that will cover your expenses while you're taking this venture. Three, I'd say make sure you have a good support system. I mean, like if your parents can be on board, it's even better, because the motivation, like whether it's coming from your friends, your parents, your girl, it helps a lot. Because if my girl wasn't telling me that I can do things, that, if the photo I took was good, or the weed strain smelled good, or like it would have never came. It would just never have been what it is.
Dope. Transition from there, because I want to ask, give me two, now we're going from 3 to 2, give me two little advice based on how do you have a good relationship? Because you have 14 years.
Yeah,
you went from El Camino being distracted from all the punani. And then now you have a 14-year. Yeah. That's hella long,
It is long, man.
So what are I'd say one, from a perspective of you, for the younger men out there.
I'd say communication. I mean, like if you can't even hold a conversation with the chick you're with, you probably shouldn't be with her. If you don't have the same interests, or if you or if you guys are just constantly arguing or something like that, it's probably not a good look. Like if the communication's not there, then like and communication for me is the same thing as compromise, because you compromise with communication as well. Like there are some times when I don't want to watch fucking, the new girl. Like, okay, let's like you just have to compromise. Like, or I don't want to fucking eat here. How about let's try this, or like, and you just kind of have to be totally honest with each other, Yeah. But number two, I'd say fucking quit being a fucking bitch, man, and just don't have the fucking, like, I felt like when I was growing up, I had this mental picture of what my woman was supposed to look like, right? Big tits, big ass, skinny waist and shit. Like my fucking, what's the word? My
dream,
my ideal chick, right?
Yeah.
Like your standards, there you go. Yeah. Like your standards, it's one of those memes, like what you see and then what people see, you know what I mean? Like just, if you can, like, your standards don't have to be so high where it's like, like the thing I noticed about my wife back then was, I was like, damn, God damn. Like, she's skinny than a motherfucker, right? I was just like, damn, she looked, I was like, she looked, like at the time I was like, damn, she looked good as fuck. Like, like, because that's going to be your fucking wife in the end. So you just start talking man shit. And I almost didn't want to fucking date her because she was young, just for that.
Well, she was younger than you.
She was younger than I was, like it was just, I had this thing where I was like, I would never fucking date a person that far behind from.
How much older are you?
3-4 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, you thought that was young.
I really did think that was a big gap, and I almost dropped her for that,
Really?
Yeah, and luckily I didn't.
Whoa. And so quit being a bitch with your high ass standards.
Yes. Like, cause you'll be surprised at how beautiful people are on the inside, and then that makes them beautiful on the outside, right?
Yeah, or else you'll just end up alone.
Or you'll end up with that bitch fucking gold digger, or like the chick that she's a gym rat and then she starts fucking the teacher, and then you're fucking fucked and
you're all emotionally wrecked. Like, why?
Yeah, man.
I thought you were happy with me.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So those are my two relationship things.
Thank you for coming on. What is your last? Man. Do you have any last thought? Last major message for the
public?
For the public.
Yeah, man. I just want to say that I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
I love your setup here, and I love that there's someone out there that really cares about our community and our race. You know, like one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast is because I do love what you're doing, and it's just it's comforting to know that there's someone like you out here. Because when I see your Instagram and your Snapchat, you don't give a shit about who's watching what you're doing. Like, you'll sing, you'll dance around, you'll do your music thing, and you'll do it because you know that it makes you happy, and you're expressing yourself creatively. And I wish there was more people like you.
Thank you. I still give a shit though. I'm like, should I post this shit?
Anyone that can,
will they like my shit?
Anyone that will put themselves out there like that, that's fucking.
For sure. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. How can people find your stuff?
Yeah,
is it Mighty Breed?
So mightybreed.org is our delivery service. You do have to be an MMJ card holder.
Medical. So
medical,
it has
yes.
to be medical.
And you can see some of our stuff on our website, mightybreed.org. Our Instagram is mighty_breed. You can see me, Sean_Pierre, Pierre _ on Instagram and Twitter. Sean Pierre on Facebook, and we do have a few like YouTube handles for Mighty Breed if you want to just look at people smoking weed and whatnot. So just search Mighty Breed.
Mighty Breed.
But yeah, that's where you can find us. And thank you so much for having me on. This is fucking dope. I wouldn't mind. Please, I'd love to come back again. And do some more stuff. It's just fucking my wife is like texting me right now. We're supposed to eat dinner.
That's that 14 years, son.
Yeah, man.
You gotta do that texting.
Gotta do it.
If you want that 14 years, compromise. Shit.
Hey, Pornhub Premium. Shout out to Pornhub Premium.